Hello, I'm Audrey. I am the friend of Violet Vixen, who this whole thing kind of popped off over. I wanted to pop in today, so this is not going to be a breakdown of exactly what happened. It's going to be a very different kind of breakdown. The timeline breakdown will be coming later in the week, but for this particular video, I want to talk about the question of, is Emilie Autumn racist? Because this seems to be going around that we're saying that she's racist and all of this. There seems to be question of the original post and all of that. So I want to try to dive into that a little bit and do a little bit of explanation. So to start with, the comment that was blocked. There were actually a lot of comments that were blocked. I just didn't find out until later because I was blocked and I had to create a fake account to go and look at the original black box post. And today Violet actually got a comment on her YouTube video stating that somebody else had been blocked and all they were, for the same reason I was blocked. All they were doing were asking for resources. So let's get into it, I guess. The initial comment that was blocked was a conversation. Well, my initial comment that was blocked was a conversation between me and someone else. This person wanted Emilie Autumn to take down her black box because she felt that there was information coming out new that the black box situation actually was not helpful to the movement, which is actually very important. These resources were coming out as the black box thing was going on, and so people were starting to realize too little too late that the black box movement wasn't, one, started by Black Lives Matter, and two, was actually, could be, well, if you did it with a hashtag, it was detrimental, and then everything else was just a little wonky. By the time Emilie Autumn had posted her black box, we were too deep in, and I was like, look, I say she keep it. She said something, and yes, there is this argument, because she said, well, it's a performative type of activism. And I was like, no, you're right on that, especially because Emilie Autumn hasn't spoken in a while, but it's better than nothing, and who knows, it's a start. And I was deleted. And I wasn't deleted, I was blocked for that comment. Blocked, completely exiled, excommunicated, bye for that. Before I got to this person's comment, though, I saw other comments that were asking Emilie Autumn to post more resources and things that would help the movement. When I finally created a fake account so I could go and look at the comment section, there were none there. None whatsoever. Which is really heartbreaking because they were only being nice. But the fact is that you guys don't actually have access to that information. A lot of people don't have access to that information. So why did this blow up out of proportion? There's no way to confirm Emilie Autumn's a racist if we don't have the original comments, right? Incorrect. I am going to break down what racism really is, what was actually said, and the actions that kind of prove it. And before you leave and be like, you said Emilie Autumn's a racist, blah, 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 please listen to my whole breakdown, okay? Because it's not a bashing thing. The things that I'm about to detail that happened with Emilie Autumn happened to a lot of people, happened to friends that I am really close to nowadays. You can ask Violet. There was a friend I got in a full argument with over All Lives Matter a few years ago when she had a Facebook. Violet was adamant I delete her. She eventually unfriended me herself. But then we became back to being friends because this work that I'm about to detail, she did it. And she came back and she decided to be my friend because she realized she kind of fucked up. We didn't talk about it, but I went on her page and I saw that she had changed her mind on things. And I was like, cool, we can be friends. That's it. We didn't have to fight about it, argue about it. I didn't come and check her credentials. Well, I did check her Facebook credentials, I'm not gonna lie. But I didn't come at her about it because I knew this work is hard. So please, just listen to the whole video, okay? So let's start with the things that we know. Well, we already talked about the things we don't know, so let's go ahead and just jump into the things that we know and the things we have screen caps of. So when I informed Violet that I was blocked, she went to Emilie Autumn's page and detailed how disappointed she was. Yes, she used strong wording, but no, she was not being derogatory, mean, or bashing. The thing is, everybody says that Violet called Emilie Autumn a racist. She did not. She called her a bigot. Red flag number one is Emilie Autumn and her team painting this image that we called her racist when no, the only person that used any kind of derogatory term was Violet, and she chose bigot. And bigot, at the time, was the correct word. Now, if you're listening to this and you're like, aren't they the same team? Aren't they the same thing? No, they are not. And I would advise you, if you don't know the difference, to also think about your view on racism and the whole thing. Because knowing the difference between being a bigot, between bigotry, prejudice, racism, and bias is very, very important to actually understanding racism. I'm not saying that if you don't know the difference, you're racist. No. I'll get into this later, but each and every one of us has prejudices, racism, biases, all of these things ingrained inside of us. And we hold on to them and we have to let them go. Not knowing that difference and automatically hearing racist when somebody uses a different term that you think is interchangeable is probably one of those things that lets you know that you still have some stuff to unravel. But we'll get back to that. So, excuse me. So for those who don't know the difference, racism is racial discrimination as it pertains to systematic programming, basically. I don't really know how any other way to put it. But racism is ingrained in us and programmed into us from a very young age, down to the lessons we learn in school, the people we see on TV, the way our family talks, the people that we are surrounded by. All of these things implant racism inside of us from the day we were born, just as much as like gender bias. We have to, excuse me. So racism is that systematic implanting of that information. Does the government do it on purpose? That's a conspiracy. We don't know. We don't actually know. But it's still a bias, even on our top shows. Stranger Things. You really expect me to think there is one black person in this whole town? Probably not. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it's rife with the black people, but come on. There wasn't any black people in that mall in season 2? Not a one? Come on. So, it's simple things like that. That programming that black people are rare. We're not rare. We're just kind of shoved away. That's how that goes. That's racism. That's that programming that you don't really have control over the fact that it's implanted into you. You have to control and pull it out. Bigotry is completely different. Bigotry is when somebody cannot accept a differing opinion from theirs. So an example of bigotry would be like a Trump supporter calling a Democrat a libtard just because they think differently than them. Democrats and Republicans, the Republicans who are intolerant to Democrats are bigots. Democrats that are completely intolerant to Republicans are also bigots. Now, granted, there are some things that cannot be stood, racism being one of them. If I have a racist candidate, I can't stand them. I fucking hate Mike Pence and he came from my state. That is not a differing opinion. That is me looking at someone who does not value life. Racism is not something that you can have an opinion on. You're either with us or you're either against racism or you're racist, period. So there are those lines that can't be drawn. But in general, I have known Republicans who aren't racist, even though they're like, but I just like the policies, and who are conflicted about their own things. I'm conflicted about fucking Biden. I don't like Biden, but I know he will better serve me. Like, you know what I mean? So, all of that is getting off topic. Basically, though, if somebody hears a differing opinion and cannot take it or understand it or even try, they are a bigot. Now, originally, when Violet made that statement, describing Emilie Autumn as a bigot would probably be very truthful based off of a lot of things that we have heard about the old forums and things shutting down and the way Emilie Autumn treats anybody who gives her any kind of criticism. A bigot definitely would have been the right word. But here is where it jumps from bigotry to racism. So instead of engaging with Violet, she blocks her too. Okay, I can kind of understand that. She called her a bigot. I mean, is it the right course of action? No. She should have had a conversation with her. and been like, whoa, why are you upset? What's going on? And had her explain it and had a conversation, had to talk about it. I mean, they didn't have a full 2 hour sit down talk. Hell, Emilie Autumn could just be, she was deleted, could just have said she was deleted for harassment. And I mean, we would have asked for receipts, but at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure it would have stopped with us because she responded. I mean, technically, I can't prove that I didn't say anything harassing or abusive. So, I mean, she has the control of that. Emilie Autumn has the power to fix that. If she unblocked me, I could get those screenshots, but that's in her power and that's in her court. Me and Violet would know she was lying, but we wouldn't know how to prove it. She could have just left it at that and walked away. But she didn't. Instead, she silenced Black voices. And then, when Violet asked her fans to go and stick up for her, she silenced them too. Now, how is this racism? Most of you would say, I've heard a lot, not most of you, but I've heard a lot of arguments of, it's her page. She can do what she wants with it. She didn't want to talk about that, so she blocked them. And to that I say, she did want to talk about it. She posted, well, let me rephrase. She told us that she wanted to talk about it. She posted a black square 2 weeks prior saying that she would silence her voice so that POC could talk. And then immediately silenced anybody, including POCs, who questioned that, who asked her to do just a little bit more. We talked, she silenced us. That's why there's nothing there. And then, when confronted about it, she once again silenced another POC. Now we're moving into the territory of racism and false allyship. And, okay, so some people would say, well, she just lied to protect her skin, you know, everybody was doing it. Okay, but that means she still used a movement to help and boost POC voices to boost herself, which she later brags about in a post. And she still has not donated that money to the NAACP as promised and sent us a receipt. So again, we are moving into racism territory. Finally, when she does start answering, the words harassment, and racism and abuse are all thrown out. All gaslighting techniques used by white people to silence Black people. Again, do I really think she's sitting here being like, no, I don't like Black people, they shouldn't talk, no. But she is still silencing. She is still taking our movement and putting it and using it for herself. And saying, I am an ally, you can't talk to me this way. But honey, it's because you're an ally, we have to. Or you wanted to be an ally, you have to. So, before we go any deeper, let me explain a little bit about racism. Because for some people right now, this isn't sounding like racism. This is sounding like somebody who can't take criticism, and we'll get to that in a moment as well. But no, it is racism, and it's actually the worst kind of racism. See, there are different types of racism. There's not just the bigot with the Confederate flag on the back of his pickup truck and his Nazi swastika tattoo screaming, "Screw you, N-word with a hard ER." That's not the only type of racism, but whenever you hear whenever a lot of people hear the word racism, that is what they get in their head. And that is what, then they hear it applied to them or someone else, and they're like, no, that's not me. But that's not the racism we're referring to, and honestly, that's not the racism we're fighting. Those people will die off, because the world is only getting queerer, browner, and just generally more liberated. So nobody actually gives a fuck about them, because they're going to die off like the dinosaurs. The people that we care about are the ones who are systematically building racism into our whole society. And okay, so how does Emilie Autumn play a role in that? She has a platform where she is claiming to be an ally and then completely backtracking on it every second she gets. But let me go back to the different types of racism, and then we'll talk a little bit more about that. So we have the giant prejudice swastika wearing dick bag, right? And then we have the people over here who are like, ugh, I don't like them. Ew. I'm gonna stay away from them. And that's all they do. They stay away from them. That's it. They're like, oh, I'm not like them, I'm not racist. But when asked to help, or when they see these people doing racist things and saying racist things, they don't say anything. They're like, I'm not with them. No, I'm not going to do anything. We're not with them. Those are the silent racists, or those are the silent racists. The racism comes from their silence. They are inactive. They don't care. Not really. They only care about themselves. They're like, ew, I don't like them, but that's it. I don't want to associate with that, but that's it. And then there's the false. And then there's the silent, the loudly proclaiming, I'm not racist, but still silent, but still not helpful. And these people, so, are like what Emilie Autumn's doing. She's screaming, I'm not racist. She's screaming, I am not, I am with you. I've done these tiny performative acts of activism, but when called to question her actual beliefs and her actual actions and voice and things like that, she shuts you down. Imagine again, you have them over there, then you have these people over there hiding, and then you have these people over here being like, I'm not racist, I'm not racist. And then a person of color comes up to them, oh, cool, we're going to go try to take down that massive group over there. We're going to try to go in that. Would you mind helping us? They're like, why? I'm not racist. Like, nobody said you were. We just asked for help. But I'm not racist. Why are you coming at me? That's what's happening with Emilie Autumn right now. Nobody called her racist. We just asked for a little bit more help. And then she got angry. And then she showed her receipt. She said, look, I went to a protest. I'm not racist. Actually, let me rephrase. She made a receipt so that she could show it to people who weren't blocked. So all the people that questioned her and asked her to do a little bit more were validated, even though they weren't there to see it. That is her type of racism. In comparison to, another comparison to that situation would be those that voted for, okay, let's go back to this previous election. Trump versus Hillary, right? Trump won, not because there weren't enough people that voted for Hillary, but because there were too many people that didn't vote at all. There were too many people that said, I hate Trump, but I just don't feel comfortable voting for Hillary because she's crooked, or I don't like her. These people were like, well, I don't want Trump to win, but I'm not going to vote for Hillary either. They depended on other people to do the legwork for them. And then, when there weren't enough of us who turned out, they got mad. They're like, how did Trump win? Well, where the fuck were you? If you would have came, maybe we would have won. And no, I didn't like Hillary either. She straight up lied to people and said that she didn't call black teens super predators. And she didn't admit it, and that's bullshit. But at least she wasn't a blatant racist like Trump. But instead of turning out and doing something, they all sat back on their loins and they just let it go. And they said, look, we don't like him, but we're not helping. And that's basically what Emilie Autumn's doing. Saying, look, I'm not racist. See, look, I did this. Now leave me alone. I don't want to put any work into this. That's what she's doing. And it's very, very, very unfortunate. And so going back to that ego statement, to where this whole situation sounds like somebody who just can't take criticism, which we know because we've seen what happened to the old forums. We've seen her do it time and time again and blow up on fans. You are correct. Emilie Autumn has a big ego and can't take criticism. But the fact that she put her ego before the allyship that she promised makes her racist. And I'm sorry. And yes, she should put herself first, but we'll double back to that in a moment as well. To understand, though, for any of you watching this thinking, well, what is enough then? She went to a protest, she posted a link, and she did a black box. What is enough? The truth is, you can't really measure what enough is. You can't really. You can really only set your own standard, which Emilie Autumn set by posting a black box. When she posted a black box, she said, I'm going to be silent to make way for black voices. She also labeled herself an ally. When asked to post resources and boost some black voices, she exiled those people. She blocked them from her life. She made a promise to listen to black people speak. And when they spoke, she didn't like it. She only wanted black people to speak and say hail to the queen. If they said anything less, they got blocked. I even praised her for the black square, even though I was like, it's performative, but hey, it's a good start. That's what I said. Blocked. Because she didn't hear it, because she didn't want to hear that. But her black box said she did. Her black box said, I am here to hear you and I am here for you. But then she immediately countered it by blocking people, and then continued to counter it day after day after day, when blocking people that were asking, why are you blocking people of color who are just asking you for a little bit more? And then she went out, to the protest to try to say, look, see, I'm doing this. See, I'm here for you. I said it. I went to a protest. Here's some links. But I can tell you that protest thing, unfortunately, was also performative. 2 reasons why. First reason why, she said while at the protest on her phone in a story, of course I'll get tested for COVID when I get back, or when this is over after the protest, I'm going to get tested for COVID. Do you know what that means? It means she was only planning to go out there one day. Just one. And sure, there are plenty of people out there. I know people who only went out once. But the fact is, you planned to only go out once. Most people I know who only went out once, was like, I don't know, maybe, whatever. You gave your little piece of activism and then left. No, you didn't. You went to go get a picture. Once you got your picture, you felt like you never needed to come back because you kept rehashing those pictures. Instead of just going to another protest and being like, here, there's another protest, even though that would have been performative as well, it would have done better for your case than rehashing the same pictures over and over. The second piece of information that shows that was performative is the kneeling video picture thing. In the picture, in this video, she shows people kneeling as a demonstration in the streets. Clearly, from where this camera is angled, Emilie Autumn or whoever is holding the camera is not kneeling. They're observing. They're getting a picture. So that means one of 2 things. Either Emilie Autumn was watching the demonstration because she felt like it was for her, i.e. they were talking to you, i.e. she's racist because she needed to see that. Number 2, she either didn't kneel at all, she kneeled and then got back up early, or she got a picture and then kneeled. Any 3 of those say that the picture was more important than the actual demonstration. Getting the picture was more important than her participating in the demonstration. Ergo, performative. Now I get it. You don't want to hear this. Nobody wants to hear they're racist. It fucking sucks hearing that you're racist. But here's the thing. Anybody who is actually trying to be an ally has to hear it either from themselves or the world. So the thing about this is that racism is ingrained in all of us. It is in our media. It is in our schools. It is in our families. It is in our streets. It is in the way that how black people are shuffled into ghettos and how their schools are underfunded and all of these things. It is built in us, these biases against race. It's not really our fault, but it is our job to unravel that, to realize that there is a problem and pull it out, and to understand that just not hating black people doesn't actually make you not racist. That just makes you not a blatant racist. There are still those racist roots inside of you that were put there by the world that we live in that you have to slowly unravel from and start yanking out of your body. And to be honest, may never be gone. But each generation, we get more and more of it out in order to try to make sure that the next generation has less to deal with until one day it'll disappear. That is your job as an ally. And if you have not started doing that to yourself, you cannot be an ally. Emilie Autumn is not capable of being an ally right now because it's very clear that she has not done this introspection. To give another example of this, A person, an ally who has not started this unraveling process is like that guy in the zombie movie who got bit and hid it but came inside anyway. And then they turn into a zombie and start spreading the zombie virus. It's the same thing. See, Emilie Autumn has a platform. And if she keeps showing herself being performatively active in the Black community instead of actually being supportive of it, then people are going to start thinking that her behavior is a good way to be an ally, and it's not. She is spreading a zombie virus by not getting herself treated, by not treating herself and getting that out of her. So she is not capable of being an ally right now. Any white person who is an ally knows that they have had to do this, and it sucks. It abso-fucking-lutely sucks to try to rip apart your own biases and try to make it new. To look at yourself and realize that you have done some dumb shit, that you're going to do more dumb shit, and to think about it. Hell, there was a situation today where somebody had a dumb shit moment. It happens, and you have to unravel that, and you have to make it better in order to even try to be an ally. Because honestly, the job of an ally is not just to dissect that and pull that out of themselves. It's to try to help people pull theirs. It's to say, hey, you got a little racism right there. Let me help you get it out. And then to help us uproot it from the entire system that we are in. It is a long, painful process, but you can't do it unless you've at least started doing this on your own. Emilie Autumn clearly has not started. She is not capable of being an ally. So, not to summarize, but to put into a bit of a different perspective. Come here, mama. To word it a little differently. If you are an ally and you have not done that process of trying to rip that racism out of you, you are incapable of being an ally. But if you say you're an ally, but refuse to do that introspection and refuse to rip that bias out of you and try to figure out how to be a better ally, then you are racist. Because all you are doing is spreading more hatred and disease. And I'm sorry to say that. But here's the cool thing. It's not permanent. It's not permanent. The thing is, you can be branded a racist by right now and an ally tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow. It'll take a lot of time to really understand that and unravel it. But the point is, you don't have to be a racist forever. I just saw a post today of a man getting his swastika covered up with a rose and just how emotional he was about it and how awful he felt that he was ever that kind of person, and he was originally keeping the tattoo as a badge of shame, but he decided to get it covered. That's fucking beautiful, man. That's what this is all about. And we want that for you too. But in order for you to get that, you have to start talking. Well, we want Emilie Autumn to get that too. But in order for her to get that, she has to start talking. And not to her circle. Because we surround ourselves by people that affirm us. We have to come out of our circle to learn. In order for us to get a better understanding of the world and unravel our own biases, we can't keep living in it. We have to get out of this affirming bubble, this bubble that keeps telling us the same thing over and over again is right or wrong or whatever. You have to get out of that bubble. Talk to someone else. Talk to anyone else. Talk to one of us. Help get some kind of other perspective. Because the people surrounding you, anybody, they are your affirmers. They will always be on your side. You have to get out of that bubble. And I'm not saying you have to leave that bubble permanently. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, hang out with your friends and then go ahead and hang out with another group another night. Go somewhere else different. Do something different. Surround yourself with some different people every once in a while so you can see some different perspectives on the world. And the last thing I'm going to leave on is, I know some of you are probably watching this and thinking, well, you're Black, you don't know. How do you know how hard it is to rip these out of you and things like that? And Black people have biases too. I've had to cuss out my own Facebook page for treating a very important friend in our family who presents white badly at her job. I've cussed people out for that because of this whole thing. They're like, well, what side are you on? Her own side, mind your business. She's at work, So I've had to do that, and I know what that is a thing that in Black people. I know that. But I'm going to tell you a story about a personal bias that I kept with me for a very, very long time. That it took a long time to unravel and pull out of me. So I was born Christian, or I wasn't born Christian. Nobody's born Christian. I was raised Christian, Black Christian. So I don't know about y'all. I don't know what y'all know about Black people, but Black people take religion seriously. And I hated church. I always hated church, and I didn't like the teaching. Everything felt wrong to me. And so when I got to middle school, I started questioning my religion. I started feeling like I'm not Christian, and I never was, and I need to kind of find my way out of it. Well, at the same time I started questioning my religion, my sister was affirmed in hers, and she wanted to get baptized. And I was freaked out because I was like, I'm only just now starting to question. I'm not ready to answer questions about baptism because she's my sister. If she gets baptized and I don't, people are going to be like, oh, when are you getting baptized? Oh, what are you going to do next? Or why didn't you do it when you... So I was just like, fuck it, I'll get baptized too. Because I needed time. I needed time. And so after I got baptized, I didn't think anything was going to happen. I thought I was just going to be dunked in water and come out. But when I got out of the water, I felt lighter, and I was really, really confused. And this feeling, it hung on to me for days, where I just felt so much lighter, like a burden was lifted off of my shoulders. I was very, very confused, to the point where when I went back to school that Monday, I was sitting at my desk in homeroom, just like freaking out. Like, am I high? What is going on? And so this girl came up to me. She was not a friend of mine, but she did hang out with my then best friend. I didn't really like her for a lot of reasons, and this will be one of them. But she comes up to me, she says, what's up? You're kind of spacing out. And I was like, and I told her the story. I got baptized, and I was feeling strange, and I've been questioning my religion for a while, and, I don't know where to go from here. She goes, oh, wait, you're questioning your religion? She said, well, here, take this. And on my desk, she sat the Satanic Bible. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, get this away from me. I freaked out. My skin kind of crawled a little bit. And I recognized at the time that I was not ready to go from A to 15 in that, one sitting, Like, I was just like, no, I'm not there. Don't get it away from me. And I was freaking out about it. I had this bias against Satanism that told me that it was bad. And I'm like, no, them people sacrifice goats. What are you doing? And she kept saying, it's not what you think it is. It's not what you think it is. And I was just like, I don't care. Get it away. Middle school me? Not very smart me. So I finally kind of affirmed myself in my own religion, and I understand that, and I come to an understanding that I believe more in people than gods, and I believe that people have power, and the reason why that baptism ritual worked is because I wanted it to. I did it saying that I needed a burden lifted off of my shoulder, and so I felt light for a few days. And doing so also helped me figure out that I wasn't Christian. I'm more eclectic pagan, and I believe more in people than I do in gods. Boom, got it. Along with that belief came the belief that all religions are correct, and all religions are wrong, because anything that people believe, we manifest. So people are wrong kind of in saying that there are gods pulling all of the strings per se, but they're right in most of their religion because they believe it and it works. So that was my belief. However, I still held on to my bias against Satanism. I was firm in my belief that Satanism was a fake religion, and it only came out because they wanted to be anti-Christian. That's it. I did very little research on it again, and I was kind of dumb. But this is when Satanism kind of started getting in the news a little bit, because they were doing activist stuff. And once that stuff started happening, I started seeing the activist things they were doing. I was like, whoa, they're kind of cool. But how can they be cool? They're terrible people. They sacrifice goats and shit. So I joined this group in college called the Society for Earth-Based Religions, and I confessed my bias to them. And I said, I used to say there was only one fake religion, and that's Satanism. And I'm starting to doubt that, though, and I don't really know where to go with that. And so they helped me out. They kind of explained that Satanism isn't actually worship of the devil, it's worship of yourself over God. And I was like, ah, so this is just like the way I believe things. Oh, damn. Okay. Because I believe more in the power of people than I do in the power of gods. And they were like, we almost thought you were a Satanist because of that. I was like, nah, that's it. I read some of their, what are they called? Tenets, maybe? And I used to have one that really stuck with me when I was in college, and I can't fucking remember what it is now. But it was a quote, a tenet about complete bodily autonomy. And if taking that away from people was just like a capital offense. You take somebody's bodily autonomy, we're gonna fuck you up, basically what it said. And it was kind of a beautiful little passage, and I was like, okay, I take that back. Satanism is a valid religion. It took me years to unravel that bias, and it took a lot of my own research to do so. And I mean, I'm missing some details, how I got from being afraid of Satanism to being like, Satanism is just fake. I researched a little bit of it online. I stopped being afraid of it, but the information that I had wasn't really all that great, so it still didn't validate it for me. But then somebody kind of clarified some things for me, pointed me in the right direction, and then I did the rest of the research on my own. Now I think Satanists are kind of cool. That being said, the bias still isn't completely gone. There's still this little piece of me that every once in a while when I hear the word Satanist, it goes, ew. But you know what I do to that little piece? I tell it to shut the fuck up, because I need to listen. Because this is something that I don't know a lot about, and I still need to learn on it if I'm ever going to get rid of these biases that keep me from being, an ally for them, basically. So I get it. It's hard. It takes years to unravel bias. It takes so much years. It takes years and a lot of personal introspective pain to unravel racism. But if you're going to be an ally, you have to. If Emilie Autumn wants to be a real ally, she needs to unravel that racism inside of her. She needs to do that introspection. And we're just trying to help with that, honestly, because she can't go around spreading this rhetoric that she's spreading, telling Black people they can't talk on her platforms when she opened up the door for us to talk. She can't do that. Why open up the door if you're just going to slam it when you see who comes to it? So there's my analysis of why Emilie Autumn is racist and how she can fix it. If you want to know how she can fix this whole situation with her fans, she would have to unblock the people she blocked for making valid comments, and she would have to issue a formal, unblock the people she blocked, issue a formal actual apology, not some bullshit white tears, woe is me, all of this abuse and harassment. Nobody abused her. And honestly, nobody really harassed her, because everybody had these questions. It wasn't just one person. Everybody had these questions. When they noticed it was happening, they wanted to know. And since she was blocking everybody and removing their comments, everybody had to keep asking. It wasn't harassment. All she had to do was answer. So there's that. So she would need to issue a real apology, unblock the people that she blocked, show us that NAACP receipt, and open up dialogue about this for real this time. None of that bullshit. Open up a real dialogue with us. Let us help you with the introspective process. My cat is knocking stuff over. Let us help you. I mean, I'm not saying we can do it for you, but we can run you resources. Somebody who originally was commenting on her part 3 post mentioned the book White Fragility, particularly the chapter 2, White Tears. Blech. This is a really good book. I think every white person should read it. Start there. Maybe try reading that book and coming back to us, saying what's up. But that's it. So thank you all. Again, my name is Audrey, signing off, inmate number W26I. One more thing I forgot to mention. Another piece of damning evidence that she is racist and she kind of knows it. She had Courtney post a half statement in the Stripe Stocking Society. And with the Stripe Stocking Society is a secret group that you can only get into if you have the ebook. And I believe originally you could only find the link to the Stripe Stocking Society in the ebook. I believe that's different now. But my suspicion for trying to post a statement in a super secret group was so that she would hit an echo chamber. So she expected everybody to chime back in and be like, oh, you're so right, Emily, we love you, we're your super fans, only to find out that that's not what she got in the Stripe Stocking Society. And in fact, I was in the Stripe Stocking Society because we kept trying to say we are fans and we love you, this is concerning, just saying, we do love you. So again, signing off, W26I, peace out.